Yahoo Sports wants the Big 12 to add Pitt and Louisville. Guess we will. This is the Big 12 squad.
You're talking ball with the Big 12 squad. From Oklahoma State to Utah, from Kansas State to BYU, from Houston to Texas Tech, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming Big 12 weekend. Buckle up. It's the Big 12 squad, and we have a seat for you. No hurt feelings and thin skin allowed. Squad up. You're part of the Big 12 squad.
Happy Thursday night, everybody. Welcome to the Big 12 squad. I'm Drake Toll from America's #1 Big 12 podcast, Locked On Big 12. And guess what? The #1 Big 12 squad show is ours. Jake Hatch says things about the BYU Cougars, and he's never smoked weed, not once, which will be a topic of conversation today because apparently you can or cannot at West Virginia Mountaineer. Paul will get there over the head coach's comments this week. Cam Stewart is eating food. Cody Stovall of Locked On Oklahoma State. Nick Maravets waxes poetic all the time about Iowa State. Christian Rao, it's like wow, by the way Owen Wilson says it, is Locked On K-State. JT Westerfield of Locked On Utes, and Locked On West Virginia's Mountaineer Paul, who is not on the weed. If you hit subscribe, we all get to keep our jobs. Thanks for making our shows your first listen every single day. Dan Wetzel wants Louisville and Pitt to go to the Big 12. Feels like it's a pretty easy move. But first, Mountaineer Paul, what is happening with the grade A cannabis in Morgantown, West Virginia right now?
They asked Rich Rod about it, and
what are they doing in his press conferences? Ask him about TikTok and weed.
You know what the funniest thing about that? That was actually the funnier thing of the day was that he didn't ban TikTok. He banned TikTok dancing in the locker room, which is like in the same vein of maybe like no celebrations, right? Like it's kind of like that. I think it's a disconnect, to be honest. I think that's what it is. He's been away for a long time.
Wow. 40-year-old Mountaineer Paul is pro TikTok dances here.
Hey, is nobody going to bring up that looks like Elon hooked our boy Paul up because his internet is grade A right now?
That's a great point.
Responded right away.
Starlink is a good thing, baby.
Yeah.
It happened for me.
You know what? That's how you know the Big 12, whatever this show is.
Wow,
doing really good.
Didn't you say you studied English in college?
Yeah, that doesn't mean I need to speak it fluently, or you never know.
Which college was that? Was that
I could be hanging out in the West Virginia parts, but anywho, yeah, we're doing good because he has Starlink money. That's it. That's all I got.
He follows it up by saying "doing good" is just perfect. It's perfect for the English majors.
Anywho.
Did we lose? Did Mountaineer Paul put a spell on, so he stole Cam's internet? Is that what happened here, by the way?
Yeah, there it was.
Cam's girlfriend sabotaging him late
Correct.
Because he was teaching and
Mountaineer
coaching.
Paul's doing that today.
Parker Ainsworth of Locked On Coogs, talking all things Houston. Way to be punctual. Yes, there. So, Mountaineer Paul, 30-second synopsis. What did they decide about smoking on campus and being a football player?
I think Rich Rod he understands that it's legal now. He just thinks that if you're doing that, this is the way he thinks. And I think like I said, there's a disconnect here because I do think personal and college football, two different things, right? But as far as personally, I understand it helps a lot of people. For Rich Rod, what he's saying is, what's that say about you and your want to win if you're coming to practice high? That's how he sees it. You know what I'm saying? So I see where he's coming from. It's just that's not going to land well with today's.
I want to ask Cam and I guess Drake too, as the Baylor. What I feel like there was a big bunch of guys at Baylor there for a minute there that were smoking a lot before practice. Once upon a time,
we're the weed guys. What's up with that?
I'm going to toss this that direction.
Baptist.
The Baptist. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. The internet cut out again. I got one Mountaineer Paul word, and the whole time I was thinking, if with the new longer squad shows, do you think we could all smoke a J at the beginning of it and maybe not even get high until the last segment? And I think that we're already off the rails, but our last segments would be incredible if we all smoke a J or took an edible, Jake, if you want to ease into this thing. At the beginning of this.
Would be very happy about this.
There's more than one way to absorb a substance, by the way. You don't have to do oral, right?
Whoa.
Jeez.
Ooh, hey, Paul, what else can you do, buddy?
Oh, 5 minutes in.
I've been in jail before, all right? And people come in there all kinds of different ways.
I don't know if we can leave any of this in. It was brought up at a press conference to a football coach in the Big 12. That's how I'm going to pitch it to the producers when they say that we have to scrap the entire Big 12 squad. Dan Wetzel of Yahoo Sports, a little more journalistic, says that it makes sense. Says it on a podcast. It makes sense that the Big 12 would add Louisville and Virginia Tech, not Virginia, Pitt, Louisville and Pitt. And look, here's the cool thing. Both those schools make money. Both those schools have fairly good athletic departments. Sorry, Mountaineer Paul. And they would come in on an equal share as everybody else. The Big 12 probably is going to expand at some point to 18 or 20. Everybody else is kind of moving in that direction. Those feel like two schools that I would take first choice out of the ACC because they would be happy to do so. North Carolina wouldn't be happy. I don't know if Georgia Tech would be happy to come to the Big 12. They think they deserve a Big 10 spot. I think Louisville and Pitt would both be fairly stoked, similar to how Colorado or BYU were to be here. I think Georgia Tech would be a lot like Utah. Their fans would be mad. Yeah. Oh yeah. Cause you guys were so thrilled about the Big 12.
But we do bring value to this conference. At least I know I saw that graphic that we're a little bit lower. First of all, that game, Jake, what are you talking about? The rivalry between Utah and BYU is great for the Big 12. So I don't know what you're trying to get on about.
Aren't you $17 million in the hole already?
that was Pac-12 issues. That was the thing in the past. They were anticipating this.
So those just went away when you left the conference.
Million.
You just didn't have those issues anymore.
Wait, isn't this de facto locked on conference realignment basically too? With how much we talk about it? What is 17 million in today's world of college athletics with NIL and everything too? The schools are about to get 20 million in revenue that they can distribute amongst their sports.
It's money you don't have. That's what $17 million is. It's money you don't have.
Why did the Utah Jazz decide they like BYU and not Utah?
Oh yeah, Jake, you know this. You know the answer to this.
Yeah, Jake knows the answer.
Brian Smith is a BYU alum, and his dad's a professor there. So there you go.
Okay.
How is Utah
Danny
17 million?
Danny's hot.
Danny.
Now there's no NIL for AARP for your quarterbacks. Where is Utah going to get that?
Our quarterback, who still, by the way, has technically not announced his plans. Like Cam has still said nothing. Here we are in March, and Cam hasn't said.
Dementia is a real thing with older age. I know that.
Kyle, I want to come somewhat full circle though, back to Louisville's in Kentucky, and they've got weed in Kentucky. Pennsylvania does not, where Pitt is, but I think adding Pitt would add a good rivalry with West Virginia. I think that's one that the conference would benefit from in a big way. Actually,
it would be right there with the top in the conference as far as rivalries go.
It'd be fun.
The Holy War, the Backyard Brawl, and the same.
So you're a child. You're a child.
Sleeping on Farmageddon. Go ahead.
I'm not.
And you have a sibling, right? And your parents are out one night to dinner, and both of them get shot and killed.
Oh,
and then
my gosh!
What
you fall into a bat cave.
Story?
You fall into a
Batman movie.
Batman.
And would you want the two children to go to the orphanage together or be in separate orphanages? Oh, trick question. You would want them to stay together, right? Bringing BYU and Utah to the Big 12 together is like they can both compete with one another, pull each other up. They know that they have this mystique to it because of the rivalry. I think West Virginia came to the Big 12 conference without another orphan, without a sibling.
with daddy issues. That's where this is going.
And so it got on substances. And so I think West Virginia having Pitt would be like bringing in another orphan because we know the last decade for West Virginia, they have struggled to keep up in the Big 12. Let's bring in their orphaned brother, Pitt, who didn't fall in the bat cave. And now maybe West Virginia has somebody to compete with, and it helps them overall in the Big 12.
Hey, Mountaineer
And 12 years later, they go to summer camp, and they try to get their parents back together.
I don't
It's
mind
been 13
Louisville.
years.
Nice reference.
Yeah. I don't mind Louisville coming in, but I don't think Pitt's worth the Charmin extra soft they wipe with personally.
Really? You don't really, Cody? You're that down on Pitt?
Yeah, I am.
I mean, I have a lot to say about
Get
them.
your own stadium. Am I right, Cody?
Well, not
Coming
only
up,
that, they have a
Pitt
horrible fan
and
base.
we wasted the first 6 minutes of this about weed. Coming up,
I love
Pitt
Cam.
and Louisville.
How's
the
that
Big
wasting
12.
anything?
This is the Big 12 squad.
The Oregon guy.
Today's show is brought to you by Nissan. Nissan is the place. And when I'm telling you the place, I mean the place to go right now for the Armada. The 2025 Armada is spectacular. Just like our team of the week, our college basketball experts here at Locked On have put together a team of the week, the Duke Blue Devils. John Shire's team led the nation with an insane amount plus 434 points in ACC games in their margin of victory. It's the most by a power conference team in league play since Kentucky in 1953-54. When it comes to Nissan Armada, they say go forth and conquer. That's exactly what the Duke Blue Devils have done here. It's clear that our team of the week is out here ready to conquer the road ahead with confidence, just like you can in the all-new Nissan Armada or any of Nissan's outstanding vehicles. Take the Nissan Armada, Rogue, or Pathfinder and go find your next big adventure at shopnissanusa.com. That is shopnissanusa.com. Well, we did. We've just brought on, as mentioned before the ad break, the Oregon guy, Spencer McLaughlin, who missed the entire cannabis conversation.
By the way, can I just interject real quick? Cam, I hope you're seeing a therapist. You seem to talk about divorce a lot on this show.
Well, you should have seen what he was doing with a hot dog before the show started.
The Parent Trap.
I was like,
I'm sorry. What did you just forget the premise of the movie that you brought up? Great film, by the way.
You missed a Batman reference in there, Spencer, because you were late.
They're talking about orphans. I talk about divorce. I'm a little tame here. Same thing.
We also discussed taking edibles, so hey, we're off and rolling. Let's go.
Yeah, and actually reflecting on what I said earlier, I now see how bad that sounded. I meant it a whole different way. And that was bad, man.
I tell you what, the good news, Paul, is we can actually see you as you're saying this stuff. That's nice.
Yeah. Hey,
Spencer. Yeah, you're late to this, Spencer.
Paul had a trivia question for us.
Oh, dude, I'm actually a trivia junkie.
Not everything has to be ingested orally, so what is the other option?
There are multiple, by the way. There are multiple ways.
There
are different ways. Spencer,
I'm gonna pass on that one.
Oh, just joining, including Spencer. The idea is 2 children, their parents are murdered brutally, and now they're orphaned together.
One lived a little bit longer; it just bled out. Like that's part of this.
Would you want to
Don't forget that detail from Batman Begins.
Let them up or let them stay together? You would let them stay together. BYU and Utah got to go into their cool new. They got adopted in the Big 12 together.
They didn't come together though, really quick. Like that, the analogy doesn't work there. I'm just
not at the same time. You're right. They didn't finish at the same time. It took a little bit for the
Wouldn't
other.
Wouldn't dare.
You're welcome.
One of them had to push, so they can't do it at the same time.
This is so good.
So the idea here is that West Virginia needed an orphan brother to come to the Big 12 with to help them compete against and feel comfortable. And bringing Pitt would do that. We are pro. Dan Wetzel, Yahoo Sports, had the idea Louisville and Pitt come to the Big 12. I think that could work.
What about Virginia Tech?
Well,
they feel that same.
I think. Louisville and Pitt. You said.
Dan Wetzel, Yahoo Sports said. God, listen, please.
I'm actually kind of like that's actually intriguing. That's legitimately intriguing because to me, Louisville with their basketball focus and Pitt's tied to West Virginia in different respects feel like Big 12 schools. They have a bit like it doesn't feel even as unnatural in some ways as Utah and BYU being in the Big 12, which is great for the league, of course. But like they don't feel like Big 12 schools. Utah doesn't even want to be in this conference, or at least that's just what their athletic director said.
Are you just going to recycle every joke from the first segment because you showed up late?
Yep.
I could, and I might. In my defense, Drake didn't invite me until later, but so we're gonna blame him. So I don't think that's a ridiculous just throw it at the wall and see what sticks sort of notion. The question is, could it actually work?
Ever since Spencer told that story about his broken wrist, it's just been hard to invite him. It's been like you send that last invite during the party, like, hey, we're having.
When did I tell a story about my broken? I never broke my wrist.
Like it was
really.
It
was the baseball story, Spencer.
No, I got hit in the mouth.
We don't need to hear it again.
I wasn't going to tell it. I'm just trying to set the record straight.
Hit in the mouth with baseball
somehow made it worse.
Is that why your lips are so gaudy? Like your lips are like there's like filler in them. Like you got. Like,
it could be
prominent. Yeah. Like
it could be.
That's how he got braces before we started playing with toys on that one movie.
Keeping up with McLaughlin.
I have a heckler commenter over on my Locked On Ducks channel who reminds me at least once a week that I have larger than average lips.
Wow. That's like S tier.
Maybe he's an admirer.
It's gone on long enough to the point where I think he might be in love with me, but
I've always believed
I want the admiration from all of my fans.
Well,
do you guys know
have a viewer that is staring at your lips the whole time? You might
apparently
have a
so
5 situation.
Apparently so. I'm just reporting.
Spencer
facts.
didn't know he was getting into this and getting love out of it. He was just trying to come talk ball.
Does anyone
Coach,
know?
No, Parker. Anytime I come into the squad, I know what I'm getting into, and that's zero talking talking of ball.
We talked a lot of balls.
Let's talk about balls.
You know, no ball. That's why.
Yeah, balls plural. That's a whole different thing.
Does anyone here know their splits between male and female listeners? I think mine's like 9% female.
Oh, I know mine.
You actually have that?
Yeah, mine's like above 5%, which is crazy.
Yeah, you can watch that on YouTube. Mine are 95.5.
10.2% female. Ladies, hello.
What's the age group on that, Drake, that you would allow?
Don't
65 plus.
Perfect, brother. Don't change a thing.
Drake, that number's up because you've been having Cam on a lot lately. That's the
they know what they want.
Drake's he can become the second Cougar in this room.
Oh,
Third.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, third, Spencer, because the
that's true. That's true.
I do
Oh,
have-
I forgot
Houston
Houston.
has forgot about that.
Okay, like if I'm being honest, I actually forgot that BYU's mascot is a cougar, and I was just looking at Parker, and BYU's just BYU. I know, Jake. That's the bad part. I've eaten a cougar tail. It's wonderful.
Hey, yo.
I want to see Cam with a cougar tail. That sounds like it could be a good section of the show.
Why?
And I'm not talking about his lip size. Okay, calm down. I'm not that guy.
So my old lady is 3 weeks older than me. So
Hey,
Robin Cradle much? Am I right?
just check it. BYU, our female audience, 9%. So there you go.
Hey, look at us, guys.
Female audience 5.6. I got 37.9, 65 or older.
Oh.
Speaking of Cougars.
Shout out.
Wow. My 25 to 34-year-old range is 11.2% of the show, and only 0.6% of that is female. They're out there. They exist. It's
yeah, both of them.
They are out there.
Strong, loud minority on the Locked On Big 12 analytics of women. So Spencer, it sounds like you're cool if we add Louisville and Pitt.
I think it'd be fun. You know, great content, Drake, because I could force you to do so many segments with me, and that'd make your life miserable. So at the very least, I would get that.
I've been talking a lot of ball on your show recently. People are starting to notice. I'm starting to get phone calls.
That's because on my show we talk ball.
When you guys record together, the female viewership is definitely down. By the way.
I don't know.
Oh, they're down, all right. They're down for sure.
Go down in the DM.
Yep.
Yes, it do. Yes, it do, Mountaineer Paul.
I said a thing.
Yeah, Spencer, it was pertinent this week because Rich Rodriguez said that his players shouldn't smoke weed before practice and they shouldn't do TikTok dances. So that's
which is crazy when you
not
consider
TikTok.
It's totalitarian.
That could be from there.
I mean, the first part seems self-explanatory.
They're funny. Give me a minute. I'll find them.
Okay. No, but I did throw it to Cam earlier because it was Josh Gordon, but it was a whole bunch of guys. It wasn't just Josh Gordon, right? There was like a whole crew. I thought of. I'm not making this up.
Breaking news! Football players smoke weed.
No, but like you taught us. No, but that was like a whole thing, and they were good at the time. I'm trying to say, we're good. I'm giving you praise.
Fall asleep in the Taco Bell drive-thru. There, but for the grace of God, go all of us. Okay. He who hasn't, throw the first stone.
I'm trying to say, we're good, and you had guys smoking before practice. All I was trying to say.
Yeah, it's sick as hell. I know.
Hey, I'll tell you this, Mountaineer Paul. If Rich Rod hasn't smoked 1,000 joints and gone driving down back roads, then is he really going to be a good coach?
Yeah.
Good question. I guarantee you, Neil Brown didn't. That dude was like that dude's dad personified.
You think that was part of the criteria in the coaching search for West Virginia, Mountaineer Paul?
Think about it. Bob Huggins. Right?
Hey, I have no comment. I have no comment
Drake,
on the matter.
Stay quiet.
I should really recuse myself from anything related to Bob Huggins. Please don't put me in this situation.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Should I say the quiet part out loud?
Please keep that.
Did you?
No, the quiet part would get bleeped off the air.
Mo Lewis, baby.
Well, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Mo Lewis knocked out Tom Brady, or knocked out Drew Bledsoe, and Tom Brady got to go in, and they tried to give Mo Lewis a Super Bowl ring. That's what Drake should ask for from Bob Huggins.
A Super Bowl ring. Coming up, we're moving a bunch of games Friday night. Spencer, you're actually going to like this conversation. I think it's a scared move. Get your money up.
You say that like I haven't enjoyed the past 15 minutes.
This is the Locked On Big 12 squad. Big 12 is moving like all of its football games to Friday night this season because we are scared of competing with the SEC and the Big 10 for viewership times. So the Big 12 is going to have games like Auburn and Baylor in the non-conference, and even Tulsa, Oklahoma State, Georgia Tech at Colorado. Some of these could end up being good. TCU at Arizona State, West Virginia at BYU, Utah at Kansas. Now those are all on Fridays. Why? Because we're scared little girls, and we don't want to compete with the SEC and the Big 10. It's like
I wonder why our female viewership is so low.
It's little boy. Women's History Month, dude. Come on.
It's going to change when we start talking about Kansas State, Arizona on Friday night.
Well, the Catholic audience just
Big
went
12
up.
after dark action.
Wildcats. Wildcat action. Let's go.
We just missed Happy International Women's Day.
Yes. By the time this
LeBron
releases, it will
didn't.
have been a week.
Can I say this Rich Rod quote really quick?
You know what, Paul? You can literally do whatever you want on the show. Just don't
Your show.
ever have to ask permission.
It's so. He said they're going to be on it, so I'm not blaming it. I'm
Is
not
this the
banning
weed
it
thing again?
from them. I know, right?
He's that.
Is this
I'm
about
just
weed?
banning them. I'm banning them from dancing on it, not banning them from TikTok.
Weed?
We try to have a
It's
hard
on
edge
what?
and whatever, and if you're in your tights dancing on TikTok, that's not quite the image our program wants. I banned dancing on TikToks. I guess I did that, and I'm allowed to do that. I can have rules now. 20 years from now, if they want to be sitting in their
How long is
pajamas
this
in their
quote?
basement, eating
Long is the
Cheetos and
story you
whatever
told?
TikTok, whatever the hell they can, smoking cannabis, whatever. I mean, knock yourself out. If you
Narduzzi
want to
has the
smoke
chance
weed,
to do the funniest thing ever.
knock yourself out if you want to smoke
Be
weed.
high
you sit in your
and do a
pajamas.
TikTok dance when they beat them.
I like how none of us knew what on it meant for like the first half of the quote. Though. Which one was he going with?
Yeah. Don't dance on
Stay
weed.
off the TikTok.
On weed.
Are we
Wow.
announcing the war on TikTok? By the way, is that what we're
So
going?
wait, can they be on TikTok while high? Just can't be dancing.
Good
They
question.
can smoke weed on TikTok.
Yeah,
they
so
just
they
can't dance while they do it.
Instagram Reels. Is that
Yeah,
fine?
they're making
Nick
reels.
asking important questions.
YouTube
make-
Shorts.
Reels.
YouTube Shorts.
They're making up some
Blue
short
Sky?
Who knows?
Can you blue sky?
LinkedIn?
while
Can we
high?
bring Vine
I
back?
doubt it. In West Virginia,
Vine would be
no way.
incredible. Vine before
Based on-
incredible.
Do it
Can
for the
you
Vine.
truth social and dance while on Delta 8 is the question here.
West Virginia
By
would
the
be
way,
entirely
no
in favor
way,
of that.
no
Don't
way
lie to
Nick
yourself.
knows what Vine
Just
is.
watching one Nancy
Oh.
Mace video after another.
Cam, what was with that shot at
Road
Nick?
work
How did he
ahead.
deserve that?
He's clearly the youngest of us.
We're trying to get
Road
this-
work ahead. Yeah, I sure hope it does.
Wow. Can you give us another one real quick? Give us another one.
I smell like beef.
Another one.
I think it's I smell like beef. I think she's like she
Beef.
didn't yell it. I don't think.
The last one is beef.
Nick, give me
Okay,
another.
thank you.
Give me another Vine, please. We have an hour of this.
It's
What are
God,
we
it's
talking
Java.
about right now?
I never been to Java.
Cam Stewart is
I've
trying
never
to
been to-
cross-examine
almost
Nick
got to-
about his knowledge
never
of
been to
Vine.
Ubu
That's
Java.
what's happening right now, apparently.
Name 3 of their songs.
If Truth Social was banned by Rich Rodriguez, what
Mhm.
would the state of West Virginia do? What
They
kind
chanting
of
free Shavaka do.
what kind
Good
of
question.
more like
They would
Hurricane
burn
Katrina.
couches all day, every day.
They did burn couches. Though I watched Baylor burn couches when they won the Big 12 championship in football. Drove back to Waco. We they shut off a street. It was kind of really cool actually.
I
We
wish
burned
somebody
couches.
would have called me. I would have loved to caught an arson charge in that weekend.
The police
I-
were like taking pictures with kids. The police
It was
were
a different
involved in
time. Art Briles. Yeah, it was a different time.
it. This was like
must
2
have been
years ago.
3 years ago.
It was like
Hey, I saw them do it after we won a national championship in basketball. Do you guys know what that's like?
Ames
Like,
used
when
to
You
it
weren't
was
in
being
college
at the
then.
end of one shining moment.
What were you
No,
doing
I was
hanging out with
not.
the college kids?
I was working local news. I had to get viewer video from the celebrations.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Is
he's
Cam,
working
is
his
that where
different
you met
analytics we were talking about
your
on YouTube earlier is
girlfriend?
what he was doing.
Cam Stewart, Peter Parker.
Taking home with that. That's local news pays well too. You're making a whole lot of money to be there.
Hey, get on camera, kid.
Hey, he's frozen. So this Friday thing. This Friday thing.
See, I
really
thought he was
stupid.
actually just giving
Staring
us a
into my
death
soul.
stare. Wait, Cam, were you frozen or were you just staring at us cold-faced?
Again.
Well
That
done.
was a perfect timing.
That's
Cam Stewart is the new Mountaineer, Paul.
What?
Just
The
the
word. This is
Who
bad.
can't bring Derek in? Let's get Derek in here.
He lives in Chicago. They have perfectly good internet in Chicago.
And Cam, you had an incredible beer at the Blackhawks game.
It just got over 60 degrees today, though. It all goes to hell. That was pretty incredible. Hold on. I do have the stick, gentlemen.
Oh, he's going to pull his stick out.
You ever drink a Mick Ultra out of this puppy?
Yeah, Jake hasn't. Yeah.
Ever drink a Mick Ultra out of this because they ran out of Miller Lite?
Whoa. Hey.
They ran out of Miller Lite?
Let's not put a brand on that beverage. Let's open up to any sponsor.
They didn't have
possible.
it, man.
Derek, it would take you 5.
Can you only do this orally?
Oh my.
Clip it.
Derek, we could give you 1,000 guesses. I don't think you'd ever get any of the things we've talked
Christian
about.
should
so
know.
far.
Kansas State.
We already went over this. There's more than
I
one
heard
way.
Art Briles, and that was good enough for me to guess the rest.
Yeah. Derek, as we've been discussing, playing football games on Fridays is not going to work, right?
Sure. I mean, if you get enough Miller Lights, why not?
There you go. Atta baby, Derek.
I don't even know what that means, but hell
What's
yeah.
so wrong with playing on Friday?
Well, it's
Big
okay,
East,
but you're not going to get as much views.
Mr. Pac-12 guy
High school
here. That's
football night.
all your games were on Friday.
I'm not saying your conference championship game should be on a Friday. That's that's kind of
literally did that.
cowering
Okay,
away.
wait,
But you got a bunch of
well,
other
that-
games. You can have
Brett
Big 12
Yormark
content
would
on
play
Friday
on
and
Tuesday.
Big 12 content on Saturday.
Dude, Brett Yormark would play
idiot.
on Tuesday if he could, though. Like, did we see the court?
Yeah,
for the
and the
Big 12
MAC is an
basketball
elite
tournament?
conference.
Like, he'll do
What's your
whatever.
point?
He'll do whatever.
Thursdays
No,
are
I'm
better
just
than
saying.
Fridays. I
I'm
will
just
agree
saying,
with you.
Friday is the opening of the gate for
I don't want
everything.
the NFL. I don't want to face the NFL on
No,
Thursdays.
Friday. What you people don't understand is our mecca is Texas, and every Friday in Texas, people are watching high school football. They don't care about college football. Anything that happens on a Friday, it doesn't exist in Ada, Oklahoma,
So-
in Coppell,
Yeah, I
Texas.
think
Okay, let's
in
freeze time because Drake just made a good point.
Logan,
Well, and
Utah.
it actually
Worst
opens up the
person
ball
you know
conversation.
who's made
I don't
Does
know.
this
We're more of a-
signify? Feel as that conference is like leaving Texas all of a sudden, right? Because Texas would the state of Texas would never put a college football game on a Friday. This
Correct.
feels like we're leaving the reach a little bit here.
Wait, I think that they've definitely had college football games on Fridays in Texas before.
Oh, what? North Texas and Lamar. Ooh.
Yeah, I get that you're not. You know,
Drake,
you
one of those
you
is an
get it,
FCS
but
program, and one of those is not. Can we keep it in the
Well, here's
same?
the deal.
same
We're talking about
competition?
Sorry,
multi-million
Locked
dollar
On
high
College
school
Football
stadiums
only
filling
cares about
up.
the SEC. I forgot. Locked On
Wait,
College
BYU
Football.
played at SMU this past season on a Friday night. Then they conveniently forgot about the fact that BYU beat SMU in the college football playoff rankings. Therefore, playing
Because
on
no
Friday.
one watched it. It was on a Friday. That's the problem.
Exactly.
They were
Well,
watching
and-
China Spring versus Springtown. They
Bingo.
were
And
not
something,
watching
and
BYU.
Drake, something that doesn't seem to be getting talked about, I think, more than anything, there's so many Friday night games for the Big 12, but is there a bunch for the SEC and the Big 10? I don't know. I'm
They wouldn't do
legitimately
that.
just asking.
No,
you
They
know.
wouldn't. They would not.
Right,
do
so
that.
doesn't it almost feel somewhat systematic that ESPN
There are
had to
some.
prop up
There are
their
some in the
baby
Big Ten. There are some in the Big Ten. Oregon played on a
What,
Friday
Indiana
at
versus
least twice
Northwestern?
last year.
And all the Big Ten does is whine about it. That's what we've heard.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of whining about it right now. But
Not
Auburn's
kind of.
poor.
Not kind
Auburn's
of, Drake.
poor, so Auburn has to play Baylor on a Friday, and they just made that decision last week. They're like, hey, you know what, guys? No one cares about this. Play it on a Friday.
I get that folks not from and haven't ever lived in Texas don't get it, but within an hour, I can get to like 12 different multi-million-dollar high school stadiums that will be full of 50,000 people on Friday nights. Like within an hour of where I'm living right now. Like,
You're right, but it's still, Parker, I lived in Texas. Like there is still power in having a game on that night, though, for some of the people that are still going to, even after their game gets over, right? Where are they going to go? They're going to watch more football after.
Oh, I've
So
had
I
You want to put it at 10
people
o'clock?
yeah, I'm going to kick off at 10?
No,
Sounds
no,
like
no,
BYU
no,
should
end
just
at
do
10,
it every
end at 10,
time.
end at
BYU
10.
every Friday.
End at 10.
BYU at 10 o'clock every Friday. Perfect.
Honestly, BYU is the one school that I can like. You guys wear the Friday thing really well. BYU loves a good Friday game. The rest of us,
they got used to
Not
it
an
during
NCAA tournament.
They got.
I'm not worried about hangover.
Because that would mean you'd have to play on a Sunday. So
Yep.
that can't happen.
No Friday, Sunday in the NCAAs. That's a rule. But you know, the point is well made, Drake, is because BYU during their independent era, they played 2 or 3 Fridays every single season. So I think Cougar fans have become adapted to playing on Friday nights, and I think by and large BYU fans would be okay with it.
anybody want to follow up that eloquence?
I just went through
No.
all of ESPN's schedule real quick while we're talking, and the only Friday games for Power Fours are Big 12s and ACC.
Ooh,
There are
who's
no
ACC?
Big Ten.
Tell me
There are
that's
no
not
Big Tens this year.
systematic that ESPN's got to prop up their darlings.
Yes,
and
so
push
shut
down.
up, Spencer.
I think it's a good idea. Everyone to have a game every once in a while.
God, you would think it's a good idea. You would be the one.
Brett Yormark, the whole thing we love about Brett Yormark is he's creative. He tries to find different ways to maximize viewership. There is not a college game on Friday. That's a good idea. Jake, you were just okay with Fridays. Why are you shaking your head?
Because
you're the Pac-12 guy. You saw the conference die because they were trying to do things like this.
Okay, Parker, of all the reasons, can I speak on that first?
Championship is always on a Friday.
Yep.
Parker, of all the reasons to cite for the Pac-12's demise, playing a few games on Friday is like 18th on the list.
And they played at odd times to try and find these TV. That's one of the things they were doing. It's not the only thing they did wrong.
First on the list, religious persecution. Let's start there, huh?
First
Take
thing.
a long look in the mirror.
Wouldn't be at the top of my list. The
Number
top
one
of my
of why
list.
they
Up here, creme de la creme would be Larry Scott. That's the first. That's where you start.
Arrested Development, right?
More or less, yeah. And then you can throw whatever you want after. Put it in whatever. Put Friday Night Game second.
That's
there.
Larry David.
Larry Scott is first, who's apparently rumored to be the next LPGA commissioner potentially, which is insane. Yeah, no, it's incredibly real.
I do need it out there.
Tomorrow on Locked On College Football.
I do need it out there.
Why Larry Scott is plotting his return to run
David
a
did not do
conference
Arrested
straight to the ground.
Correct. Larry David did Always Sunny.
Curb Your Enthusiasm, right?
Yep.
You nailed it.
He got the joke.
Yeah.
He got the joke, everybody. Yep, he was included.
Look
in
at
the
me.
sarcasm.
Nick, he gets it. He gets it.
Bang.
When Nick comes through, he comes through, huh?
Hey.
It's good.
So
what can I say?
There was more stuff on my list of things we could talk about today.
We barely even touched on the actual things that were on the rundown. We spent our whole time talking about.
Yeah, that's because we enjoy ourselves here.
Where'd you get this rundown?
Yeah, what rundown are we talking about?
He texted
I sent it
earlier.
in the Big 12 squad chat.
I know
Didn't send it to me.
I know
Nerd.
Parker's not talking. The same guy every week who asked for the squad show link, even though it's been the same link from the very first time we restored it all season.
Imagine if we put
you can't
Spencer in this
explain the bit, JT. That's not how it works.
group chat. I can't.
Where's your 5-hour interview, sir?
Right here. Right.
Drake, what do you?
New guy
anyone
Nick
still
and his
watching?
Iowa State Cyclones made it to a bowl game. I
Are
had
you
to say,
talking to yourself, Cam?
if
Those
Drake
hands
plays the
are
Parker
crazy.
5-hour video with no one watching, is it even played? That's that's the real.
This is pre-recorded. So BYU is doing this student lottery ticket thing, and my feed on Twitter this
I thought the
weekend
lottery's illegal there.
was
They are.
there's a bunch of Arkansas fans that are pissed off about their season tickets going up by $20,000 a piece, and BYU students are like, "Oh, I will miss my final BYU basketball game as a senior. Please be sad for me." Jake, what's happening?
BYU student section muffed it. That's the biggest storyline there. They have
Student
allowed
section muffed it?
That wasn't allowed either.
Muffed it? Come on.
They're going to allow muffing now at BYU?
Sure thought it was not allowed.
Nicely done, Derek. Nicely
Yes.
done. No
No.
muffing in Provo. You mother muffers.
Drake, what are you doing? You're muted. You're still muted.
Keep talking, Drake. Yell louder, Drake.
You're supposed to be the best of us.
No, my girlfriend's making dinner and I want a plate. I'm hungry. I'm sitting here listening to all of what.
Wow, look at me. I'm Drake Toll. I host Locked On Big 12, and I'm in a relationship. Yeah, screw you, man.
And she's hot.
I got 3
You're
kills.
9% female.
Well, she-
This went down to like 4%.
Christian beat me to it. I was going to ask if she was one of the 9%.
Yeah.
She is not.
Well,
But we did go to, like,
respectfully,
about
if you
8%
just
of
said
it.
that she's a dog ugly, I don't know you'd still be dating her much longer. So that's probably a good call. That she's
English
hot.
degree, folks. English degree. It's stunning.
It was descriptive.
thank
I
you.
think it worked.
Was it from the school? From the school where you don't read and write good? What's the line?
Something to that effect.
Derek
Something to that
Schoolander
effect,
Zool,
Drake.
school for kids who don't read good.
It reminds
So,
me of
like,
Rocky Balboa. I don't think
in-
too good.
Instead of letting the kids camp out and be first come first serve, which is always a dope thing. Oh, also can't do that in Provo, which is always a cool thing in college football and basketball. BYU was like, you know what? Let's leave it up to chance. You just put your name in a hat. We're going to draw them out. And if you've been to every single game, we don't give a crap about you.
They
Well, you
changed.
don't know what shenanigans would happen in a tent. I mean,
Oh, trust me, there's been plenty of shenanigans happening in Provo there, Parker. I can assure you of that.
Oh,
They are soaking in shenanigans up there in Provo, Parker.
Lots of muffin.
yes.
You're kidding.
Figured out a way to get it in.
They riding bikes without helmets again?
That's
Yes,
what you
right,
said.
the helmets.
Those kids, man.
They're drinking fully leaded Cokes all of a sudden, Cam. All hell's breaking loose here in Provo.
well, he said hell, holy.
The Big 12.
You only get one per
in
semester. You
Provo.
only get one per semester.
March
Yeah, once we got
Madness.
level out of these shows,
I did a
man.
double entendre and stuff. That's pretty cool.
Is that French? You just ostracized like half your listenership right there.
Oh no!
Look at this
Cody
guy.
said it in English, but Mountaineer Paul
Let me
said
go
it
back to
French.
my Rocky impression. I don't think
Profiling
too good.
reasons.
I don't think too good.
Profiling reasons.
Profile.
Are we having a serious conversation
That's
now?
what steal.
Okay.
Well,
never mind.
Let's get back to the point, Drake. Here's the thing. If they're going to keep students from camping out, you're ruining the college experience. When I was a student at BYU, we camped out for days waiting for games. The fact that they took us away 2 or 3 years ago, it's beyond dumb. And yeah, some kids who were diehards, who have been to every game in their career, missed out on a rivalry game when they would have liked to have been there.
So there's no other
Well, hold
way.
on.
Like you can't
What
buy
do you mean they
tickets?
took away camping?
Well, you cannot camp out in Provo right now for a BYU football or basketball game.
Why?
It would be pointless. It would be pointless too because the lottery system.
They have a lottery system. Essentially, you put the
Right.
hat and they
So
spit out.
good.
You have this seat in the student section. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
And you're trying to tell us that they don't smoke weed in Provo, Utah? It sounds like somebody's higher than a grass. What are we talking about?
I'm assuming, like, is it getting a lot of negative pub? Probably because it's not gonna last very
absolutely.
long. Yeah,
Well,
so it's not gonna last long, man. probably.
Well, no, that's the thing about this, Paul. You mentioned people they have another way to get to the game. Tickets for that game against Utah were going for $300 for nosebleed seats. It was a hot ticket in Provo, and that's the concern of these students are missing out.
Oh, so you're not rich Mormons? Okay.
We're not Ryan Smith over here. Thank you very much.
Okay.
There's only one. But like Baylor does this, and it makes sense for Baylor because most of the games, the students are like, I don't even want to go anyway. So
Same with Utah. That's the Utes.
Where is
Thank you,
he?
Jake. Thank you.
That's fired.
I like it.
Backstage
I
right
like
I'm still here. I'm still here.
I know you are. I just
I'm really sorry, but y'all are gonna have to repeat that part. I was telling my next guest I'm gonna need to push our time back, so please repeat it.
That's because Drake is allowing this to be the longest locked on Big 12
Oh,
squad episode.
someone
of
hasn't
all
gotten
time.
the memo. Someone
We
hasn't.
were asked for extra
It's a
minutes.
full hour,
actually.
baby.
That's
Full
right
hour.
off.
Yeah, we're doing it
New
now.
Oh, I actually did
company
not get that
initiative.
memo.
Yeah,
People
welcome
want
to the
more.
show.
More cowbell.
Accidentally became.
silence.
Where is
So
it?
JT, can you describe the 5 student?
Wait 1 second.
What nation is that?
Look at the though. It's the drugs.
That's Rich Rod's burner.
It's Rich Rod's burner.
I hate drugs.
This is I hate TikTok. That's what it is.
Kids smoking weed and on the TikTok.
On these dances, these TikToks.
Okay,
It's the
JT,
dancing on the TikTok.
So at Baylor,
Just a pitch. I got
you register for the lottery. If you're a student, you get picked for the lottery. You get a ticket to the football game or the basketball game. But like usually, it's only 80%, and if you don't go, you're revoked. So it keeps the kids that want to go into the games. Whereas at BYU, literally every child there has nothing else to do aside from going to the athletic events, which is awesome. And now the diehards are getting bumped for Brindley and Briley, who want to go to their first ever BYU basketball game to cap off their junior year.
JT
So-
has no.
You are not supposed to
Hey.
dox Jake's
Actually-
kids' names. You are not supposed to do that.
Hey! Yes, that's a good point. Don't dox my kids. Thank you very much.
Jake's like, it's pretty close.
There's enough of them. Just throw a name out there, and you're probably going to be close. At the very
Jake, I was about
A student section, they're must for their basketball games. Like 5 kids.
I was gonna say, I'm be honest. You guys, wait. There's actually other Big 12 teams are able to fill their stadiums. I thought that was everyone's problem, not just
Ask,
Utah.
ask the curtains about the Huntsman Center.
Hey, the curtains have been down this year. The curtains have been off this year.
Nick knows. Nick, you can fill it up. Nick, fill.
Yeah, Nick.
Hey,
That's
Hilton,
how you fill it up, buddy.
Hilton is
Nick
packed
filled
every
it up
night.
in his day, man.
That's right.
Well, I mean,
Nick's a professional filler.
I am
Kansas
no
State.
Mountaineer Paul, but
A due for segment 2.
Yeah, getting back to what we were talking about though with the BYU thing. I mean, it's tough, right? Like I get the high supply,
Arrowhead,
like you
the
mentioned, the
Jayhawks?
fact that you're charging $300 for people to get in, like that's a testament to what BYU's built. I can absolutely respect that. I think it's tough, but I mean, also it's hard when you have that popular of a student demand. I feel bad that some of those kids had to miss out on their last senior game, but I'm sure they got to go to a lot. Cam, what? Cam, What?
Who are
the
you?
one time? Wait, the one time I can actually see Cam's face.
I just
is
don't like how you.
Hold on. Jake Hatch is
JT,
disgusted that JT just said something nice about BYU.
What is this?
Like down to his core. I watched it
the
manifest in his brain and then slowly translate to his face
I
like a
tried to be
Tucker
honest.
Carlson during an interview.
Oh
Just all of a
my
sudden,
God.
just
Reference him.
what?
I don't like the way that JT handles this rivalry. I don't, because
Oh my
earlier
gosh. I don't
if we
like the
could
way you and
rewind
Drake
the
handled
tape-
something earlier. We'll get to that
If
later.
we
but keep
could
going.
rewind the tape, Jake Hatch went on for
Well,
like
Squad, got a quick football-focused question for y'all. Since last week, I know I took the conversation a little bit too much off the rails. I want to know, is Patrick Mahomes' NFL success only something that Texas Tech...
Why is he so happy to ask that?
You know what? Because I enjoy.
What's
I enjoy
happening
recording
in
with-
your
I
life
enjoy-
that constitutes smiling that big?
He was
And
excited to be in the Big 12
I get
and
to
celebrate
record
Patrick
with-
Mahomes like all Utah fans are, right? That's the.
But can we talk about how earlier in the show, Jake Hatch talked about how good Friday night games are, and then the second JT said it, he was like, "No, that's stupid."
Yeah,
I don't want
exactly.
that anymore."
Yeah, exactly.
And
Thank you.
JT, like,
That's
first
on
second
brand.
is like,
Rivalry.
I respect what BYU is built.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
mean,
I'm
it's supposed
talking
to-
about.
Okay,
That's
well,
what
first of all,
it's
we're
supposed
talking about putting butts in seats. Like,
Talking
why
about
should I get fired up
practice,
about
man.
butts in seats?
JT's
I don't
out
give a
here.
crap
JT's
about
out here
attendance.
Talking about
respecting BYU.
Cam, just because we have a good rival in this conference, the best rival, doesn't mean I need
Hey,
to always hate on
Don't denigrate
The
the
Baylor
I
guy's
can't
talking.
disrespect my rival on here every week.
The Baylor guy's talking right
Baylor,
now.
we are
Baylor
Bears.
Bears,
Am I
we
right,
are.
fellas?
Baylor, we are Bears.
Yeah, Cam, perhaps before you start insulting rivalries, you should instruct your athletic department. Oh, I can't finish that insult once that pops up. Who's that startlingly good-looking character that we just put on?
Yeah.
Put him back up there.
Apparently, I'm being too nice.
Yeah.
Since apparently I'm being too nice.
Nah,
this
I
episode,
can't even
did
see the
have
resemblance, guys.
Since apparently I've been too nice this episode, there was two individuals I'd like to go out for their comments earlier today, and it's Drake Toll and Cam Stewart. You guys on the Big 12 locked on Big 12 earlier today. I
God, get it
completely
right.
Disagree. I don't. Hey, at least I know when to unmute and mute my mic, like unlike you earlier.
I
But
muted it on
completely-
purpose to ask for dinner.
But you didn't leave the shot. You looked like you were talking in your mic.
Okay, and who's
Drake, are you telling me you were the living
Just tell us what
manifestation
you
of
didn't
John
like.
Clayton? Hey, Mom, done with my segment.
I completely disagree
RIP.
with this notion
Come on,
that
be
Cam and
my
Drake
life.
brought up earlier about the Big 12 tournament not mattering for the top teams. I think it's completely what Cam?
What does it matter?
course it
No, I'd
matters
love
for
to hear
your
this. What does it
school.
matter?
It matters for building. These are some of the quotes that you guys used earlier. Big 12 tournament. I think this was Drake. There is no reason to win this tournament. It's Fugazi. It's a made up point. Doesn't matter. Cam, it's a waste of time. All our time. Don't even try. If at the
JT.
top of the conference, just go home. Higher seed and easier path. I want you to understand how meaningless this is.
JT.
I completely disagree.
Parker?
Jake, you guys lost to
There it
Duquesne last year,
There it
and
is.
you lost
Greatest-
before to Tech, right before the momentum. So you had
Oh.
you railed
No,
in the conference
here's-
tournament.
Hold on. The
There's a very
greatest
solid
basketball
argument that
Call
playing in it
JT
last
Bobby
year hurt
Flay
you.
because that dude cooking.
JT, the best
He's just
basketball
reading
coach-
quotes from my show.
Yes,
I know. Well, I'm thinking
exactly.
it's in the second
He
half.
came
What's wrong?
prepared. Drake, he came prepared to the Big
Have
12
a
squad.
seat.
That is more than any of us could say in the
You
history of
understand?
this show.
Him listening to my show pays me money. I don't like keep
I know.
going. Like you,
I
you
know.
probably
I
have to
subscribe.
rewind it.
I
too.
subscribe so you can keep your job. I know you're in danger with your 29,000 plus subscribers, but I still subscribe for you, buddy.
JT, the
And
best,
most of them are women.
the best
Most of them are women.
basketball coach in basketball history, Rick Majerus, absolutely hated conference tournaments. How do you?
Okay. Well, so one guy hates it, so that means automatically it's vindicated. No,
One
we can
guy.
look at
You
the
just want a
history of
legendary
this
Utah
conference.
coach, one guy?
We can look at
Fired.
this.
Majerus,
Oh my
man.
gosh. I'm talking about one opinion. First of all, things
Tell
have
me
obviously
opinion.
changed. Can we look at some? Can I look?
That's a
Here's
vine.
the examples
That's
I
a
wanted to
vine.
bring up for Drake and Cam's whole point earlier was you could lose. It doesn't matter. You don't want to risk injuries. Injury risk is fair. But you know what else is fair and absolutely true? Momentum. Look at Kansas last year. Lost in the Big 12 tournament to Cincinnati. Then squeezed by Stanford and Salt Lake
Yeah,
City.
no, here's-
then to get trounced by Gonzaga.
Yeah,
What's wrong with
Kansas-
that one?
Drake, can you
Last
use
year.
the
That's part
can
of
you
it. It's a
use
bigger
the
problem.
example that we used here?
What?
I don't even know what JT's going on about.
2021
I have
Baylor.
no idea what we're
national-
talking
Yeah.
about.
2021
I don't think
Baylor
there's a
national
correlation
champions.
either way. So you have the Baylor
2022
one,
Kansas national champions.
but
Yeah.
Kansas won the Big 12 in 2022. But then you
No,
could
they
also
did
go
not.
back. They did
They
in
not
the
win
Big 12 tournament in 2022. Yes, they did. 2019.
We're gonna doubt the Locked On Jayhawks guy.
I'm just telling you, they did. 2019, though, we can go to Nick, and Iowa State beat Kansas in the Big 12 championship game, and they lost in the first round to Ohio State. So I think
they were one of the Iowa State has
no, that was a point against you, JT. That was a point against you, JT.
No, I agree that it goes either way. That's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying it goes either way.
Just last year, Houston got to the conference championship game in the tournament, and they only had 7 healthy players. They end up going through like it's crazy, like they're out of gas in the tournament championship game, and then Jamal Shead turns. There's like minutes and the wear and tear that all matters, and like you're not building a team to win 5 games in 5 days. You're winning to win 2 games in 3 days, 3 different times. That's what you're building.
Taylor Lipsey goes down. Dallin Hall goes down. Like if that guy's done for the year, you're done.
No team
Houston got clobbered in the conference title game and still got the top seed. What do you think about the easiest path? They got the easiest path.
Like a quarterfinal.
That could happen anytime. You could get
no team has won any NCAA.
So play more times. You could get hurt anytime. So play more times.
Any conference.
What are you saying?
Any conference.
Okay.
Every national champion has at least moved past the quarterfinal round of their conference tournament. Every single one.
Okay, but JT, why do you care? You're the 11th seed.
Because he has to win, Jake. That's why he cares. They have to.
We absolutely have to win. Well, that's not even. I know because this is where you guys mentioned earlier, right? Like it still matters.
Seasons where Alex can take over and actually, revolutionize Utah's basketball scene. Come on now.
Well, you were talking about the same thing last year, and it actually worked out. So it does give me a little bit of hope what BYU was able to do. But like, if you look at the past in history, teams like Iowa State, right, won the Big 12 last year. So what did that allow them to do? Get an easier path in the conference tournament. Then they're able to get to the Sweet 16 in part of that too. North Carolina, a 1 seed that beat Pitt, so they were able to stay as a 1 seed last year, even though they lost to NC State. So what happened? Easier path in the tournament, got to the Sweet 16 then too. Winning those games helps you to get an easier path. I will never agree with just losing right away. It creates negative momentum. I already mentioned how BYU lost in the tournament last year and then right away got bounced by Duquesne and Keith Dambrot.
What do you think of Iowa State though in this tournament? Obviously with Keyshawn and the muscle strain, and then the team with all 8 dudes playing 19-2. We haven't.
The whole town of Ames is probably already out here. I mean,
they are.
This is like
the women's tournament.
Voyage.
They were all down there. They're sticking around. I'm just saying I think for the Iowa State men, I'm not going to say I want them to lose, but it makes sense for them to exit early and not go through extra minutes because they had to when Milan was out and then Curtis and Keyshawn. They've played through injuries. Everyone's on high minutes, and Keyshawn's playing through a muscle strain right now. I agree. Momentum is important, but if there were an argument, I do think Iowa State would benefit from some rest.
Well, and that's the guy who gets to play these games at home. Like that's Hilton South. Like this is like their backyard. And he's like, I don't know if we should play this guy. It's like I understand like some teams need because they need the resume boost, but the teams at the top of the country and the top of Big 12 is always the top of the country. It's win one game, feel good about yourself, and then call it good. Like just be done.
If LJ Cryer is done for the season, if Dallin Hall is done for the season, if Taman Lipsey's done for the season, then what was the point of this?
You
don't like Dallin Hall?
Are we bringing? I covered Dallin Hall in a state championship game all those years ago. Like he's a dang good player at Fremont High School. I put some respect on Dallin Hall's name, but he is not swaying the title odds like something crazy. If you lose a backup guard in the tournament, like you could still be fine. Or if you still get in a better position where you can put yourself against weaker opponents in the tournament by winning this conference, that also helps you out a lot too.
Iowa State didn't get a lot of benefit from winning the tournament though last year. Didn't get a huge bump in seeding.
No,
it depends on who you are.
And Iowa State
depends on who you are.
Iowa State loves a huge bump.
What'd you say?
Well,
anybody on that 8 seed or below that could get a win in the Big 12 tournament would help massively, right? West Virginia is obviously a great.
I guess team by team.
Baylor, West Virginia,
yeah. But it also the thing that conference tournaments also do at a bigger picture though is like. If Memphis doesn't win the American Athletic Conference tournament, it's actually going to hurt someone that's an 8-9 seed, right? Because they're going to be in the tournament anyway, and the conference tournament champion is going to be in. That takes away a seed. So across the board, they alter the whole thing dramatically for like this one-off kind of random money grab. Like it's just not this.
I would love a great point, Parker. JT, I would love if Utah won the Big 12 tournament or Kansas State.
Yeah,
or Oklahoma State.
Utah apparently wouldn't, by the way, since they already picked their new head coach. But anyways, what were we saying?
That only helps the Big 12 conference if they.
Yes, agreed.
Is the new head coach an NBA assistant?
Yes, he is. Alex Jensen, Dallas Mavericks assistant.
Follow a path there that somebody else did.
Copycat BYU.
What do you get, like Ryan Smith in your back pocket?
I have a question to everybody that's played against West Virginia. Do you guys think is there a team that could afford to lose somebody less than West Virginia and Javon Small?
Yeah, I still think Tame and Lipsey's up there, but Javon
Elon
Small.
Even
what happened to Cam?
Right, yeah. If Lipsy goes down, you've got 2 or 3 guys probably for Iowa State. But yeah, Javon Small is
Saunders for BYU.
Small is important.
Wait, Cam, what do you think?
Thank you, Cam. Enlightening.
Javon Small is about the only guy that from last year's team that I couldn't stand leave.
Also, we need to start talking about basketball more often because Spencer just leaves. And it's the best. It shuts him up immediately. Like he just immediately can't.
So I got a question back from Mountaineer Paul if we're going to talk hoops. Is that because everyone else is already hurt? Right? Like if everyone else were healthy, would you be missing him quite the same?
Well, I mean, look what he did this year against the literally every scheme was directed at him. We have no secondary scorer, zero, none.
Well, but wouldn't Tucker or somebody have been that? Like, isn't it just because guys are hurt?
We're missing 35 points per game.
That's what I'm saying. Though,
Jaden Stone and Tucker DeVries are 35 points a game, and Javon Small carried these guys 3 top 10 wins. You know what I mean?
I guess that's what I'm asking, though, is like, are you only saying Javon Small because he's the only one left? Like, if they were 100%, would you be missing him the same way?
It's hard to say. I think we would have been on that we would have had a shot to finish inside the top 4 with everybody, you know? So I don't know. It's hard to play that game, but I see where you're coming from. I mean, what we did with Tucker, and I'll say this, here's another thing for Javon Small. Our most efficient lineup across the entire 31 games was with Tucker DeVries, and he played 8 games. You know, so Javon Small, what he was able to do this year, literally, you could put it up there with a Jerry West type seat. It's up there. It's up there, top 2 or 3 in the history of the sport.
Jerry West?
What a wild
if you look at it, if you look at the efficiency, everything that Javon Small's been able to do across this season by the numbers, one of the best individual seasons for a guard that we've ever had. That includes Javon Carter, who won back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year awards.
Love Javon Carter.
Well, here's the thing. Derek, do you want to come out to Salt Lake City this weekend? We can watch Darren Peterson and AJ DeBonsa go head-to-head and, show what the next
I might not have to. The championship round or the semis, I think, is in Lawrence.
It is. But, hey, you come out here this week. I'll just switch places with you next week. We'll just have some fun.
Have some fun.
Oh, that's
a couple guys having some fun.
Wilt, Big O, and Jerry West. I used to go to dinner and then take the girls to see Tiny play against Earl the Pearl. Wilt, there you go. Jerry West play basketball at its very best. That's Curtis Blow.
Basketball has always been my thing. I like Magic, Bird, and Bernard King.
Yeah, that's a good one. They're playing basketball. Basketball is my favorite sport. I like the way they dribble up and down the court. A wild line to open the song with, by the way. Just lyrical
a bar. What are you talking about?
A wild. I went to oh snap! Guess what I saw? A fella tongue kissing my girl in the mouth. I got so sad my heart went down south. That's some Biz Marquee for you. That song will get to West Virginia one of these days. One of these days, that cassette's going to find its way. And people are going to love it.
I can't wait to see that TikTok dance.
Next week.
There we go.
That was unbelievable comedic timing.
We're going to tell stories about Mountaineer Paul's dad. This has been and always will be.
Marquee song.
Oh, my God. The Dos Grande Squad.